Hey everyone, this is Suresh from Mind is a Monkey coming at you guys with another episode of Let's Check Out Some Diecast. Today's video is something that I had a lot of fun because I spent the past year collecting and putting together all these ZAMACs. Yes, in today's video we are going to be checking out all the 12 ZAMACs of the year 2025. Now, a quick fact rehash about ZAMACs. ZAMACs have been exclusive to Walmarts in the United States, and it started as an official line back in 2013. So it used to be 18 castings per year, and it went on for 10 years. It completed its 10th anniversary in 2022. Starting 2023, the number of castings per year have been cut down from 18 to 12. All right. And considering that this started way back in 2013, 2025 actually marks the 13th year of ZAMACs. I'm very happy to say that I've been able to collect all the ZAMACs that has been released by Hot Wheels, the official ZAMACs, right? There have been unofficial ZAMACs, one or two, which kind of like sneak in from time to time. But I'm talking about the official lineup of the Walmart exclusive cars with the ZAMAC, labeling on the card and stuff like that, right? So happy to say that I've been able to collect every single one of them, and I'm hoping that that trend continues, right? So now, by this point, you should have noticed that I said 12 castings, but there are actually 13 cars here. All right. So that's because this particular casting, the Land Rover Defender 90, has a variation where one is like a pretty brightly polished, um, um, finish, and the other one is more of a gunpowder finish, right? So shiny one, more kind of like matted gunpowder finish one, right? So that's a variation. So I was hoping to open both of them, put them side by side, and show you guys the details, right? So assortment wise, we have a Mazda AutoZam, a custom 53 Chevy, a Subaru BRZ, a 1988 Jeep Wagoneer, and a BMW 2002 55 Chevy, Punk Rod, a Cadillac Project GTP Hypercar, Land Rover Defender 90 with its variations, and the 17 Ford F-150 Raptor. And they finished off the year with a Volvo 240 Drift Wagon and a Jaguar XJC V12 Coupe. So, pretty nice assortment of castings. It's kind of like fun to note that it doesn't have the usual heavy hitters like an 83 Chevy Silverado or a Datsun Bluebird or a 55 Chevy Bel Air Gasser for that matter, right? Or something as popular as the Cool Combi, right? So it's a pretty kind of like a common mix of cars and a few fantasy cars thrown into the mix. And I mean, I think the ground is pretty even, right? So compared to other years where there were like stellar castings, like what I said before. Okay, so without further delay, let's dive right into checking these castings out. Okay, so the first two ZAMACs of the year are the Mazda AutoZam at 001 and the Custom 53 Chevy at 002. All right. Now, assortment wise, these belong to the B case, right? So both of these castings showed up in B cases at Walmart's. Now, with regards to whether or not I've been able to find them myself, I think I ended up finding like four castings this year, right? Add the Land Rover Defender 90 variation, so that's like just five castings, right? So for most of the other castings, I picked them up from a really cool local collector club, and there are some of my friends who have given me great deals on some of these cars. So thank you guys. And I think for the last two, which is like number 11 and number 12, I ended up getting them from eBay because, I mean, our local Walmarts here did not get those cases, which is basically they are part of the Q case. And, our local Walmarts have already moved on to the first assortment, which is like A case of 2026. So let's open this up. The Mazda Auto ZAM, right? So I think you may remember that this one is actually a Legends winner, right? So pretty cool. I really like all these colors on that bare metal. Another fun fact is that I think the second diecast video on my channel was documenting the ZAMACs of 2023. So this is the third year of ZAMACs that's being documented on the channel. So I'm really happy. So this kind of like means that I've been like working on these videos for the past 2 years. I think I have come a long way from with regards to setup and trying to better the quality of these videos and stuff like that. So and I'm hoping to continue to keep getting better with these videos and bring content that's really value add and enjoyable at the same time, right? So there we have the Mazda Auto ZAM, right? As you guys can see, this one, is a modified car, and it ended up being a Legends winner. I think it was the Legends winner for probably 2024, right? Yeah. So it's part of the HW Dream Garage mini series. All right, there it's like betting all its teeth up, right? Okay, let's set it right there. The Mazda Artisan. Number two is the Custom 53 Chevy. What I really liked about this car is all the tiki deco on it, right? So check this out. HW Tiki Time, right? It also has that ZAMAC label. Now, we also have ZAMACs outside the official Walmart exclusive line, right? Like the ones that are, made as part of the Legend store, right? But I don't think they have this ZAMAC labeling or that ZAMAC label deco, right? That's what I want to say. So that is what kind of like helps you differentiate between these Walmart exclusives and things that are otherwise ZAMAC, right? All right. So HW Tiki Time. So pretty cool, interesting graphics there. Reminds me of the work of famous Hot Wheels slash Matchbox designer Michael Heralda. So he has a lot of pro Aztec designs in his castings. So it's pretty cool. It reminds me of his style. Okay, so number 3 and 4 are the Subaru BRZ and the 1988 Jeep Wagoneer, right? So from an assortment standpoint, these belonged to the E case, all right? So the Subaru BRZ, right? So it's got like a red grill right there, and it's matching its interiors, which is also red, and kind of like the lips on the wheels are also red. So I think that is where there's a sense of uniformity of that red, which is creating the contrast with that bare metal ZAMAC finish, right? Okay, so there we have the Subaru BRZ. Pretty cool. It says heart, right? So I'm trying to see if there is some kind of like a decal or there is just some cool lettering there, I guess. All right. Okay, let's set it there. And the next one is a 1988 Jeep Wagoneer. Wow, I think this one came out as a new casting like a couple of years ago, and ever since I've been like picking a release up every time I see it. So pretty cool casting. So has BF Goodrich for deco and that beautiful Hot Wheels, right? And pretty much it's the color scheme looks pretty awesome, right? It looks pretty retro or something from a print standpoint, right? So I think some color scheme which is like very unique to that print, right? Nice. So pretty rugged car. I like the details on this one and the fact that it carries that Hot Wheels in a much more um, bigger font, right? All right, let's set these guys there. At Number 5 is definitely one of my favorite castings, the BMW 2002. At number 6, we have the 55 Chevy, and these were part of the H assortment. All right, BMW 2002, part of the Hot Wheels 70s versus 90s mini series. Boy, I'm so glad to say that I have every Hot Wheels release of this particular casting. And it is definitely one of my favorite castings in Matchbox as well, right? So sometimes what happens is Matchbox would put them as an exclusive in a multi-pack. So just for that one casting, I'll end up buying the multi-pack. It's pretty cool, right? So we have the classic BMW grill right there, so BMW stripes. Okay, so I don't know why. I mean, this is just a casting that I've like come to love and collect. All right, so at number 6 we have the 55 Chevy. So for folks, some of the folks, some of the viewers who are like getting introduced to Hot Wheels, this is the unmodified version of the super popular 55 Chevy Bel Air Gasser, right? So that model is more of the gassed up, hard modified version of this, made for racing, right? This is the street legal 55 Chevy car, right? So nice pattern there. And wow, look at that deco on the roof, really groovy, right? So and it has something. What is that? Is it UTEC? Yeah, it's UTEC fuel injection. All right, let me just see the back of the card. Yes, oh sorry, it's Phytec fuel injection for deco. I somehow don't remember seeing this seeing this as a main line, and it has like a small paint fleck there. So all right, that's fine. Okay, there's some there's okay, that's a classic Bel Air signature. Wow, the kind of details they put in at this scale is pretty awesome. All right, so there we have the 55 Chevy Bel Air. Okay, at number 7 we have a fantasy casting, which is Punk Rod. And at number 8 we have a Cadillac Project GTP hypercar. From an assortment sense, these were part of the K case. All right, so let's open the Punk Rod up. All right, has the letter 99 there on the top. We have the ZAMAC deco. All right, so Punk Rod. Okay, let's set it there. So that's, I think that's probably the only fantasy casting, if you want to call it that, because this one, even though it's fantasy casting, it's also like a real world car out there. So that's why I didn't call it a fantasy casting, even though that's a modified casting, right? So next up is the Cadillac Project GTP hypercar, right? So now, when this casting made its debut in 2024, wow, I mean, a lot of collectors were very excited about this. So I think the Hot Wheels Dream Team kind of like just went along with that emotion and made a ZAMAC release in just the next year, right? So there we have the Cadillac Project GTP hypercar with the ZAMAC labeling and everything. Okay, right? I think that stands for a 9. Okay, so beautiful race car contours, right? Modern day racing contours. All right. Okay, let's set it there. Now we come to a pretty interesting section of the video, because for number 9 and 10 we have the Land Rover Defender 90 and the 17 Ford F-150 Raptor, which were part of the M case, right? So the interesting thing, the reason I'm going to pinch out the camera a tad here. Okay, so the reason I called it interesting is because the Land Rover, it's not very obvious when you just look at them individually, but when you put them side by side or like on top of each other, you're clearly able to see that one of them is like a darker finish and one of them is a much more polished finish, right? So Too bad I did not know this, else I would have picked a couple extras. So let's open both of these up. Land Rover Defender 90. One of our collector friends, Dan Winchell, is big time into Land Rovers. There were days in collecting where I used to pick up a Land Rover every time I see one, just to give it to Dan. All right, so Dan, this is a shout out to you. I hope everything is well with you. Okay, so there we have HW graphics, and we have something more. Let me check out. Okay, so far, I think those are just like fancy lettering, because the card back does not call out any specific licensed decals. All right, so Defender 68. Okay, now this is where you will be able to see the difference, right? So this one is definitely like a more shinier one, but when I put this, it's kind of like a more of a dull finish, as though somebody smeared it with some kind of like a powdering, or left it unpolished. You can it can go both ways, right? So yeah, especially on the roof, you can see what I mean, like super polished, unpolished, right? Okay, so that's why I thought, hey, that's a pretty cool variation. So in my loose set, I wanted to have one each. All right, so that's number 9, right? Number 10, we have a pretty cool looking 17 Ford F-150 Raptor. Now I think I'm gonna have to move the Land Rovers to the back, and let's open this up. A pretty sturdy looking Ford F-150, a Raptor, right? And for deco, it has BF Goodrich and Rigid for deco, all right? So it has the ZAMAC labeling there, F-150, pretty cool. Ford grill, all right? So nice, nice. I just like, I don't know. I have a crazy liking for these ZAMAC cars. All right. So the last two for the year, at number 11, we have the Volvo 240 Drift Wagon. And at number 12, we have the Jaguar XJC V12 Coupe. Now, there's a certain something that I want to call out about this, but we'll do that when we get to it. Let's open up the Volvo 240 Drift Wagon. Wow, pretty cool. I think that a transparent roof. I mean, basically a sunroof, right? That's really cool. So there are like 4 seats, and yeah, so 4 seats right there. Okay, so a drift wagon. So here you can see the rivet work. You know, go there. So that's just part of the casting, not part of the car. And for deco, we have Michelin, and I think this one, Andriel, right? That's what it says. I think that might be like a shout out to a designer, probably, because I don't see it being called out at the back of the card. The back of the card is just calling out Volvo and Michelin, right? So nothing else in terms of like licenses or trademarks or whatever. So I'm thinking that could either be like a famous racer who used the Volvo 240 Drift Wagon in racing, or it could be a shout out to a Hot Wheels designer. All right, nice. Okay, so all right, that's number 11. And at number 12, finishing off the year with a big bang, is the Jaguar XJC V12 Coupe, right? So the thing that I wanted to call out was this is actually a new casting for 2025. So just in the first year of its introduction to the Hot Wheels mainline, it has been provided a ZAMAC treatment, which is pretty cool, because I don't think that's very common. So it's pretty nice that the Jaguar got the ZAMAC treatment just on its first year of arrival in the Hot Wheels scene. All right. So I really like those 76 lettering. All right. Now for graphics, we have Bilstein. Okay. The deco on my particular car seems to be beat up. All right. Bilstein, Motul, and there's also an AA. Now let me see. This one calls Bilstein and Motul. So everything else is just some fancy lettering, I guess. AA and FC and all that. So there we have a beautiful Jaguar lettering on the roof and a nice, deco work on the hood. So nice choice of colors. I think, I mean, this is like the second casting to have this color theme. I mean, minus the pink though. All right. So pretty cool. So there we have the lineup of 2025 ZAMAC, right? Which would be your top favorite? My top favorite would be the BMW 2002, because this particular casting has come around the block a few times, and the fact that it's getting the ZAMAC treatment, it's pretty cool. And for finish, I think I'm gonna go with this one. It's really nice. And the third one would be the Jaguar. All right. So that would be my number one, number two, and number three. What are your favorite castings from this mix? And what castings would you like to see come up 2026 and future mixes of Hot Wheels ZAMACs? Share your thoughts in the comments. And until I see you guys next time, this is Suresh signing off. Rock on and stay awesome. Bye, everyone.